And welcome to the Lenny Lady. I'm Erica and this is Fairy. Today we're doing a cage reset for Fairy where she's getting introduced to some new things since she's a little older now. And I am taking all the perches out and bowls and washing everything. She's absolutely insane today. I think she's excited because she knows she's getting some new toys. Fairy is an extremely weird Lenny, but she seems to be kind of excited that I'm washing everything, and let's see if maybe she wants to take a bath. So cute. Thank everybody who has recently subscribed and is following along on this journey. I don't claim to know everything. I am a biologist and I do have a educational background in veterinary medicine, specializing in exotics and birds. I've spent a lot of time working on some conservation programs, and I've worked with hawk-headed parrots, Venaceous Amazons, Red Lord Amazons, blue-throat macaws, Bavaria conures, and quite a few other endangered species. A little different today, and I don't have my notes, which I did use last week because I had a very bad migraine and I didn't want to miss filming and sharing some things with you guys. So Fairy was born on April 30th. I got her when she was about 7 weeks old, and we have kind of just done like kind of an empty cage with like 1 or 2 toys, and I think she's due for a little bit of an upgrade. You saw in a step earlier, I had previously removed all of her perches and gave them a nice wash with just some Dawn and hot water. I try to be a chemical-free household as much as possible, and I wiped down all her cage bars, cleaned her bowls, and we're gonna go from there. I do with her right now, because she's still not that far from weaning, she gets millet all day. So there's a little millet holder, and then I always have a mineral block with additional calcium, especially for my female birds, no matter the age. So I make sure that that's always available, as well as clean water, their food, and then Fairy right now gets fresh food twice a day. Cage here is a brand called King's Cages. I do think that I'd like to get a bigger cage in the future, but my family and I just relocated, and my parrotlet Jewel has had this also, the same cage, for 7 years, and it's held up amazing. So I went for quality. I am gonna get her a bigger space, and my husband and I are talking about doing a built-in. So when you're picking a cage, you wanna go with safety features, latches, easy to clean, correct bar spacing. You want no more than ½ inch. I prefer even a little bit smaller for these guys. And I hope at this point, when you get your new bird, you've researched what they're like in the wild, what their style is like. Lennies have really strong feet. They're very acrobatic, and they like to climb a lot. So you want to get them, some different ladders, a variety of perches. And where my parrotlet is kind of a wood chewer, Fairy likes a little bit softer things. I find her beak is a little bit softer, and she likes things she can swing in, maneuver. Okay, so let's start putting in some of our ladders. I figured a little place for her ladder where she could climb up to get her millet and her calcium block, and I'm not gonna lie, that was an extremely annoying ladder to put in here. When you put your cage together, you really want to make sure that your bird can move around a lot, and that there's not like tons of toys everywhere where they can't, get to anything. That can be really overwhelming. And I do try to refresh my toys every like 5 weeks. In between, I rotate them and move them around so they have different experiences, and their cage gets a little bit of a refresh. And then once a month, I do like a really big deep clean on everything. I do change our newspapers once a day. I do obviously wipe the bars down in between and just keep everything nice and sanitary. Next is another ladder, and Fairy actually really likes this one. She likes to hang upside down and sleep from this. She's already coming in to check things out. When choosing the right cage for your bird, think about your living situation. Think about their needs, their space. The bigger you can go, typically the better. The next best thing is safety and quality. Another little tip is you don't want your perches over the food and water bowls. You'll be cleaning them out constantly. There are a few considerations when you're choosing where to place your cage. You want to make sure that your cage is free of any areas that might have a air vent above so that your birds are not in a draft. You don't want them in direct sunlight. And you do want them in an area in your house where you get a lot of activity. You know, birds want to be part of your family. They're flock members and they want, you know, they're very social. Another thing to consider is UVB lighting. If you don't have an artificial light and your bird's inside often, you may want to purchase one. Or you want to set up a fun play area where your birds can have access to natural light. I got a little hitchhiker. Thing I want to mention as far as just a little safety note, these toys, this one's from Chop Mist Hill Bird Toys on Etsy. My girls love these, but these little clasps, you do want to check them daily because they can get their toes stuck in. I thought this little sunflower was very cute. I'm just gonna get 3 new toys today, and the last thing I'm gonna do is add a toilet paper roll that I stuff with newspaper and some foot toys and throw them in the bottom for some foraging activities. And we'll put her water and food back in and see how she likes. Okay, step up. Step up. Good. All right, Fairy. You ready to see your new stuff? When you do put new stuff in your bird's cage, especially if they're a little bit more timid, they may be a little quiet that day. So give them just a day or 2 to adjust. I hope you really enjoyed this episode of the Lenny Lady. If you have any questions, you're welcome to join in my community or comment below. I do try to answer, and I try to post videos every Friday for Fairy Fridays. Videos almost daily at the Lenny Lady on Instagram. So come and join the fun, and I would love to see everybody else's Lennies too. Thank you for joining me at the Lenny Lady. Okay. Not too interested in her new toys yet. More interested in her fresh veggies. Oh, we made it up the ladder. To my little mantle stretch. And having some millet.